Good morning, Judy here from Thistledew Creations, and today I'm continuing on with my painty papers. I just did these ones and I did the video showing you how I did those. So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that one. And then after that, I wanted to try another technique that I keep seeing with oxide inks, which is where you take, they'll do it on a glass mat, or sometimes I've got some sheets of acetate that are fairly thick, so they're fairly smooth. And they'll take their ink pad and smoosh it onto the acetate. I'm just gonna do the one. This is the first time I'm doing this ever for you. So then they take some water and spritz it. And I guess there's an art to getting just the right amount of water. And let it smoosh it onto your paper. And I don't really want runs. So that's what that's given me. Interesting watercolor sort of effect. And this is on just a sketchbook paper. So kind of liking that. I'm going to run out of places to set them. My wood stove isn't quite close enough for me to keep running out there. This is the book that I'm taking them out of. This is from the Dollarama. I'm pretty sure it was $5, but it's pretty thick. It's like 3/4 to an inch thick. I've already taken a few pages out of it. I just figure if I'm going to have a partially colored page, I want it to be off-white, not white. So let's do one of these where we use two colors, because I've seen that quite a bit too. So we'll take some of the carved jade and some of the blushing and brofinch. Put them side by side. One's just a little lighter than the other. Give it a spritz. Let it sort of start to spread. You can see it sort of spreading out a bit. And then I'm going to put my paper down and smoosh it and just kind of not really moving it around much, just, oh, look at that. That's given me a neat effect. Now these are just on one side of the paper. I don't know if I'm going to do anything on the other side or not. I'm getting a little bit of bleed through. It was pretty wet. And there's some left. So actually what I could do was when there's some left, I could put it on the other side of the last sheet I did. Just sort of mop it up with it. And that gives a really neat effect too. And these are drying pretty quickly. I can use my wood stove to get them bone dry, or I can also iron them with my iron. So I'm curious to do a purple, but I'm going to stick with the blues for a bit, and then I'm going to switch to a different acetate. I just like to see what kind of effects I get depending on where I place it. I do have a third blue, but it's more of a dusty blue. I don't think I'll use that with them. I'm letting it work for a minute or a second. You see how it creates little bubbles in there? Take my sheet and I'm just kind of brushing back and forth with my hands and see how it's given me some bleed through in a streaky sort of motion. And let's see what it gives us on the front. A little bit of like a watercolory edge, which is cool. And then I'll use that one that I did last to mop up the excess. like that just as much as the front design. It's almost getting everything off of that acetate too. Could almost switch colors without worrying about it. I feel like these are going to be a little dull, so these might be good color, good paint papers to go over with some mica or some splatter, some mica splatter. But yeah, I like how those are turning out. Let's do another one. Just got a messenger message here. Let's just see who it is. See if it's anyone we know. Oh, my Aunt Susie with another bad joke. She's great for the bad jokes. Nothing I can share. Sorry, folks. Here I'm putting them kind of point to point, and one is coming out bigger than the other for some reason. Very light spritz. I just love seeing those little bubbles form in there. And let's do this one kind of up in the corner. Oh, that didn't really have enough water, I think, is the problem there. So let's spritz it on the page and see if it moves enough from doing that. This page is pretty absorbent, so it might not allow it to move very much. Like I say, this is the first time I've really played with this method. And I don't know for sure, like, all the right types of paper to use and things like that. I'm getting a little bit of green because it's sitting, these pages, I'm setting them aside and I'm setting them on top of the stencil that I just used. Better not do that. I mean, it's okay if you get random colors, but I don't want that right now. I need those stencils. Let's see if this will reactivate this. Give it just a second. And then mop the rest of that up. Really don't know what you're going to get until you try, do you? That one didn't move much at all. Let's see. I'm going to add complementary color here. I don't usually play much with orange, but let's do a couple of spots of orange. Give it a spritz. And then see how this looks together. It's kind of going a little bit muddy where they're mixing, but this over here looks nice. And I'll just put it down on the back side here to try to mop up the rest. I'm not crazy about the square blobs. So it was not enough water that caused that, I think. Now I'm going to give this a clean. And here's one of the reasons I save the backs from my napkins. And I do a napkin swap, or when I use them for things like this. And actually Wanda sent me some, I think it was Wanda, sent me some just regular old paper towel that was coffee dyed, and I actually used some in a collage yesterday, and it turned out pretty cool. So this might even be something if you kept it to all one color. Like if you're doing all teal for a long time and you worked on it, you might get a really neat watercolor effect on your napkin that you're using to clean up. It's not what I'm after today, but you might if you did. So then I was thinking pink and purple, or 2 colors of purple. Let's start with 2 colors of purple. We have lavender and Old Purple Ling Palace. Putting them fairly close together. I'm going to make sure I give it enough water to give it some movement. I think that's enough. I kind of just have to experiment with what is enough. And I'm also, when I'm putting it down, I'm moving it. Oh yeah, that moving it, having enough water that you can move it makes a big difference. Now I did get kind of a circular print on there, but I'm not too worried about that. And then I'm gonna use that same side to mop up the excess over where it's plain. And that gives me an interesting effect as well. Very cool. Very cool. And I've got one more page that's ripped out here. That's still a bit wet, but I'm going to put this ink right on it. It makes you realize just how juicy those pads really are when you use them this way. Now I've got a little bit of teal on the back side of that page. But again, I'm going to try to set it down and move it as soon as I set it down. Didn't blend quite as much. And these, like I say, I just finished working with the mica, so this looks dull to me, but the colors are good. It's just not, it doesn't have that sparkle, which I really like about the mica watercolors. And I suppose you could do the same effect. Well, let's try it. With the watercolors instead of the inks. I always see people doing it with the inks. I'll just switch to my other acetate just so I don't cross-contaminate. And pull out some more pages. I wanted a wider brush, but I don't think I do. Okay, so I still have my watercolors out, and in fact I added water on top of my teal when I finished up the last batch. So it's let the whole cake get pretty liquid. So I'm just going to put some watercolor down on this acetate. This might be the ticket, guys. And I'm just going to set it right into it and give it a little rub. See how much of that it picked up. Just giving it a second to absorb it. This paper doesn't feel like it has much of a coating on it, but it's just giving it time to absorb more of it. And I like the way it's given me that leading edge there. Let that run a little bit. And then I don't want to ruin that, so I'm not going to set it back down in that. I'll try another page. Actually, I'll just get some more on there and we'll do that again. I'm just daubing it all over. I might want a little bit more water, so I'm gonna spritz it. So you could probably do this with like the tube paints or craft paints. I've been thinking about taking some of my craft paints and just mixing them with mica to see what happens. Because I have a lot of mica that I haven't done anything with yet. I'm going to set this right back down to get the rest off the back, but the problem is I don't want to press on it. I guess I could put the other transparent over it and press. And that should have absorbed all of that paint now. Oh, it still didn't take it all, but it did do a nice subtle design on the back. And again, like this has given me a very subtle effect, but a bit of shimmer, which makes all the difference to me. So we've still got some wet seafoam green, so let's use it up. I'm going to try doing the heart and seeing if that gives me any indication of a heart when I press the paper into it. I'm going to do 2 sheets just so that I can press. I don't expect it to go on to the second sheet. It's a very subtle heart shape, but not really what I was hoping for. So let's do it again. I think I can see where I did my heart before. Just do the outline this time. And just see if I can get a better impression of a heart. Might have to do it with a darker color to really see it. Very subtle, very, very subtle. And then I'm just going to go around the outside edge, getting the rest of the paint. So now let's do pink and purple, or let's try a color combo that I also like is pink and orange. So let's see what we can do with pink and orange. I don't expect you to watch me all day, so I think we'll just, after this, we'll stop. And then I'll keep playing, and then if I figure out some really cool techniques, I'll do another video to show you what I figured out. Like I say, this is very first time trying it, so it's good if you have never tried it and you want to see how it might go for you. I might encourage you to try. So 3 little spritzes. This is a dollar store bottle too. And from the smell of it, I think I have lavender essential oil in it, so it might be scenting my paper for me as well. And I want to make sure that there's enough water there that those two will blend together. So kind of spraying in between them. See how it's now running together? I want some of that. So let's see how that does. That actually went right through. And see, you can see the motion where I was swirling my hand. Let's see how it combined the colors nicely. I don't want those runs too much. You could do some pretty neat galaxy images with this, with darker colors. Purple and teal in much darker shades. It's getting a little bit on the back. Well, that's pretty cool. Let's try that again. I think I had the pink up here. Can't remember. And the orange. The orange is persimmon sauce, and the pink is pink memories, if you're shopping on Temu and want to find those. And I'll use this page that was my top page before. And I want to give it some right in the middle to help those blend together a bit. And I'm going to go back on the same side that it came through, and I'm going to just set it down and slide it to hopefully try to blend those a bit more. I'm going to let it sit for a sec. It's one of the ladies I watch, I think it's Words and Pictures. She said, just let it sit for a second or 2 or 3, and it will absorb and combine a little bit more and differently than it would if you just set it down and lift it up. So that gives me a good little bit of color mixing. I like what it's doing over here on the edge too. I just want to be careful that it doesn't get too out of hand. And then I'm going to take that first one and go back and get some of that extra ink. You know, there's no sense in wasting that ink. They're not terribly expensive, but I have other things I want to spend my money on instead of more ink. Okay. So now what do I want to do? I said that was all I was going to do, isn't it? But I've got 2 more pieces of paper. So let's do some more orange and pink, and let's add yellow and see what that does. Kind of citrus colors. Great for summer. Spritz on top of each one, and then right in the middle, 3 or 4 spritzes. See how that works. This is 2 pages I'm putting down, and I'm gonna kind of slide it across and give it a little rub and give it a second. A little bit came through, and that's given me not very pure colors, and you can still see where I've wiped, so maybe I need something else to do that motion other than my fingers, like maybe a big flat dauber like this, even bigger than that one, just to get more of a even pressure. And I'm not seeing, oh, that's the ink. I was going to say I'm not seeing much mica, but that's because it's not the mica watercolor. So let's do, I was going to say let's do another mica, but I don't want to get those all wet again. I'll finish this 1 page, and then I'm going to cut this video off and go see about some lunch for hubby, so he doesn't have to interrupt me for it. I think I'm going to continue with the yellow in this one. And again, a spritz on each, and then 3 in the middle, 4 in the middle. Give it a second to activate with the inks. Run them into each other just a bit. This silicone mat underneath is making it easy for me to do that little bit of mixing. And then I'm going to take it and kind of go across, but I'm not going to rub it like I did before. Just going to let it sit. See if it shows my handprints there, I wonder. You can see it coming through a little bit. It's a little bit runny. Set it back down in the colors and sort of mop it up. Yellow down here. My yellow turned green. It was mixed with that blue that was on there before, I think. So it's a pretty random, you get what you get kind of process, but if you're okay with that, it's fun. And then once you've got these all dried, you can stencil over top or print something over top of them. If you can get them flat enough to go through your printer, you might have to iron them for that. And you might have to cut them down too, because I think these are, yeah, they're 8 7/8, so you'd have to cut it down to 8 1/2 to get it through a normal printer. And then they're just a little bit less than 11, so that way will work. But I'll probably do some stenciling on them. So I'm gonna call it a day at that. Actually, maybe if there's one underneath that's dry enough, I could do some stenciling for you. Let's stencil on this guy. I think maybe with the darkest. Oh, where did I put my stencils? I was really liking this rose stencil. Let's just set it right here. I'm using the same colors, so I'm not sure. Got it on a lighter spot. And then my peeled paint distress ink with the dauber that Wanda sent me. Get me hooked on it, Wanda. And this paper is still a little damp, so it actually might help it to be a little damp. Gives me a little bit more brightness, I think. I feel like it does anyway. So that's cool. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, and I hope you do too. So let me know in the comments if you've tried this and how it worked out for you. And if you tried some other techniques that you want to tell us about, then we would be glad to hear them. We will try them on screen for you if you give me some ideas. And I want to thank you all for joining me today. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. But most of all, have a great day and happy crafting.